Hello, my name is Daniel Butterfield. I am a mystic and a channeler from Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I have been receiving communications from spirits on the other side since 2016. The purpose of this presentation is to share a message, a vision really, that I received in March of 2023. The vision I received was a warning, and it came with an emotional imperative that I should do something about it. That became clear very soon after I received it. I was warned on March 4, 2023, that Les Prince Hall, a student residence building at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, would suffer a catastrophic collapse in 4 years' time. Now, as a caveat, I have to admit that I do not know if the visions and warnings I receive will come true in exactly the way I was told. In some cases, I have been told things, and they were told to me to get me to take action, and they were not exactly literally true, what I was told. In some cases, I have been told things that are stand-ins for other things that I would find if I did research. Therefore, my method, if you could call it that, involves vetting the information I receive through repeated tests of inquiry. And in this case, I was encouraged to look into the matter, and I felt that it was necessary for me to visit the site in order to understand what it was I was told, and what I was meant to share. When it comes to channeled information, often I am as much an investigator as I am a receiver, and I also understand that it's controversial to some people for me to use the word channeling to describe what I do, because often the kinds of things I channel are not like what a lot of other channelers receive, though I have received information like what others have received as well. But I understand if you maintain an attitude of skepticism towards what is ultimately a prognostication here. This is a photo of Les Prince Hall from McMaster's Facebook page in a post from Welcome Week 2015. The caption reads, "Opened in 2006, the residence was named in honor of Leslie A. Prince, who served McMaster in various roles from 1946 to 1980. McMaster's football field is also named after him. The residence houses 389 students and is located beside Coots Paradise Nature Trails." This also appears in the comments. Someone named Oswald Shea asks, "Isn't it sinking?" The official McMaster University Facebook account replied, "No, it's not sinking." Nonetheless, this is what I channeled at 6:51 p.m. on March 4, 2023. Les Prince Hall will collapse in 4 years. This is the post-it note where I jotted it down. Here's a bit of background and what I found when I looked into this situation. Upon receiving this message, I drove to the McMaster campus and took a look at the building and the land surrounding the building, which is close to the edge of a ravine. On the McMaster Library website, you can access historical aerial photographs of the McMaster campus. This is the north portion of the campus, and that's Les Prince Hall just north of the football stadium. Here's a closer aerial shot of Les Prince Hall circled in yellow. I'll be using comparisons of aerial photographs from different time periods, and these are the two primary views that I'll be using. So this is also part of what I received on March 4, 2023. I was looking at an aerial photograph of the building, I believe on Google Maps, and I was shown, as a vision, and told that this red line marked where the building would collapse, that the portion north of that line is where the danger will be. These are the aerial photographs I used to get a sense of what was there before Les Prince Hall was built. This first photo is from 1963, and there are two more. To get the photos from different eras as close as possible to the same size, I've used as primary reference points Whidden Hall, the Y-shaped building in the lower left of the photo, and Mayfair Place, the looping street on the right side of the image. This is the aerial photo from 2005, the year before Les Prince Hall was built. The two landmarks move downward slightly when the images are overlain. And this is the aerial photo from 2010, which is a closer match to the photo from 1963 than it is to the image from 2005. This is the view from 2005. The blue highlight is where Les Prince Hall will be built in 2006, and the parking lot that was there previously had been built in the 1970s. Here's the view in 2010, with Les Prince Hall highlighted in blue and the new football stadium in place. And here's the overlay of the image from 1963. That's where the parking lot would be built, and there appears to be a mix of terrain where Les Prince Hall would eventually be built. I walked around the field up there, and the ground is basically flat, with a tree line on the edge of the hill. So in this photo, I've combined the aerial photo from 2005 with the line that I was shown in my vision, with the building outlined in blue and the collapse foretold to take place north of that red line. Here are the same graphics combined with the aerial photo from 2005. I factored in that the top of Mayfair Place and Whidden Hall appear slightly lower in the 2005 photo, and accordingly, I moved the graphics downward slightly to compensate. The north end of the parking lot is near the collapse line. Here are the graphics superimposed on the aerial photo from 1963. This is the land under which the parking lot was built. There appears to be a mixture of terrain there, but I don't have any way of knowing what was there myself. It does appear that the line north of which I was told the building will collapse corresponds with the change in terrain. Here's a close-up of the current view, with Les Prince Hall outlined in blue, built over the old north parking lot. Here's the close-up of the north parking lot in the photo from 2005, and you can see the red line lining up roughly with the edge of the lot. Here in the photo from 1963, there's a mix of terrain underneath where Les Prince Hall will be, and the collapse line divides lighter and darker colored terrain. It was also mentioned to me at some point that the hillside had been filled in with landfill at some time. From the sensations I got from visiting the property and looking at the terrain around the building, which involved walking down into the ravine in the snow, the danger seems to be that the hillside will ultimately fail to continue supporting the building. It's consistent with what people have been saying since the building opened, that it's sinking, but as you'll see, it seems as if the ground is weakening. In my own memory, I seem to recall hearing stories that there were places in the basement where you can tell that the building is shifted. Now, I don't know if this is related, but when I examined the area around the building, I noticed two distinct cracks in the sidewalk outside the front entrance. Here they are from another angle, and that red line is roughly where the collapse line would be. What does correspond with these cracks is a difference in how the flange around the bottom of the building meets the ground. North of these cracks, the flange around the building has separated from the ground. Here's the south end of the building. There's a flange at the bottom of the brick, and it's flush with the sidewalk. This is the north end of the building. That is the same flange, and there is a significant gap between the flange and the ground, as if the ground has been sinking. This is a measurement I took of the gap on April 26, 2023. This is the northeast corner of the building, and I measured a 6-inch gap between the sidewalk and the flange around the bottom of the building. This is just to the west of the entrance in the center of the north end of the building. At this point, I measured a gap of 6.5 inches. At the northwest corner, I measured a gap of 6 inches, though for much of the building near the corner, the ground is lower and the gap is bigger. This is where the building meets the ground near the northwest corner. I noticed that there's about 4 inches or so where the building is a tan or beige color, and the exposed wall beneath that is dirtier, as if it has only been exposed more recently. Unless there's some other reason that the wall would be a different color, it appears that the building beneath the flange became exposed at different times. So is this something worth considering and thinking about? That this student residence, which is the temporary home to a few hundred people, might be sinking, as this person suggested on Facebook? I was told in that vision that the building had 4 years until it would suffer a catastrophic collapse. It's not inconsistent with what I had heard when I lived in Hamilton around the time the residence opened. I moved away in 2010, but before I left, I had heard rumors that the building was either sinking or sliding down the hill. I also heard, if I recall correctly, an explanation that the engineers had neglected to consider the weight of the building once people had moved in. The line I was shown corresponds with the change in terrain under the old north parking lot, and if my method wasn't erroneous, It would seem that the difference in the ground supporting the north end of the building is a source of trouble, possibly as it was suggested to me, waiting to happen. I am not here to tell anyone to do anything, but I was given this information to raise an alarm about the issue. If it turns out that the 4-year date was just a warning to get people moving on the issue, then so be it. But I just channeled the words, "I wouldn't say so," in response to that, so on my end, I don't look at it that way. If you are interested in learning more about me, Daniel Butterfield, and my work as a channeler, mystic, philosopher, author, and musician, please visit my website at danielbutterfield.com and follow me on my social media channels. Thank you.